steady and slow is the way we grow. Everything you need is already within, and that's what the Dragon Scroll is all about. There is no secret ingredient.
Welcome back to Mulligan Brothers. Today's video, as always, was sponsored by Huel. I'm drinking Huel Black Edition, which has 26 vitamins and minerals, 35 grams of protein and slow release carbs to make sure that I can stay satiated and proteined up whilst I make these documentaries. If you want to find out more about these, go to the link in the description. I'll talk about them a little bit later on in the video. We spoke earlier about manifestation, and we're sat in a building, that's it's been here for a while, and you've designed the whole thing. It's pretty incredible. But like, how has manifestation been involved in your life? How you used it?
Cool. Wow. So another part of what I like to share with people is that although this is my business and this is how I make money, this is actually, for me, my life and how I experience life. And through that, I'm able to survive. I wouldn't say I'm poor and I wouldn't say I'm rich. I'm able to eat the food that I need, and I'm able to have the shelter that allows me to live the life that I want. This temple is very much that. It's the embodiment of my childhood, my experience in China, and it's filled with details which have empowered me to achieve my goals. First and foremost, this building was derelict for over 20 years. From 2009 is when we picked it up. Before that, this main structure, it was just one structure, was a factory, a glass factory. And since then, we've transformed it into this area that we're sitting in, which I call the hyperbolic time chamber. So if you're familiar with that from Dragon Ball, it's a training chamber where you go in for one day and you come out for one day. But whilst you're in, it's as if you've been there for 1 year. So what happens is you go in for the day and then you come out and you've got all of this experience because really you've been inside for 1 year. So for me, when I was coming up with the ideas of this area, I wanted it to be very plain, very clean, fully matted and mirrored, so you could really focus on your development, using your body as a tool of self-expression through movement, in particular the animal styles of Kung Fu, the weaponry, acrobatics, etc. It's developed, and I've got some calisthenics bars which pop in and out of the walls. We've built towers and vaults that we do kind of parkour style moves. And yeah, that is the main chamber. On top of that, we've created a front entrance area, which is more just like a living quarters. It's a place for myself, my son, some of my closest students to come and chill. Obviously, eating is part of what we do. We have to eat. So when we're here, we cook up food. I follow a vegan diet. I've been vegetarian all my life, but after living in China, although most people that I know who live at Shaolin are not vegetarian or vegan, in China, they don't, or when I grew up there, but still, they don't have a lot of butter, milk, cheese, these type of products. So when I lived in China, I was pretty much vegan. And again, talking about labels, I'm not actually vegan. If it was your birthday or someone's birthday as a cake and it had a bit of egg in it, no problem, I'll have a slice of cake. Meat, I don't go near, but I just don't like butter, cheese, milk, these type of items. What happened, I moved back from China and I found that I started eating those things. The first thing I did when I came back to England and I stayed with my parents was I had a big bowl of Wheatos, chocolate Wheatos with milk. And I had the Country Life butter, slammed it on thick white bread. And I was just indulging in the things that I apparently missed. I didn't realize I missed them until I opened the fridge. It was like, oh, Country Life butter. And it was great. But what I realized, I put on weight fairly quickly. And I realized it was those things that I changed about my diet. So I decided to remove them from my diet. At this time, we're talking about 2009, 2010. Vegan wasn't really a thing. I didn't even know the word vegan back then, I don't think. So, but that's what I became. So then veganism became very popular, I think more like 2011, 12, 13 even. And yeah, technically I'm vegan. So if we went out to eat pizza, I'm not going to have pizza with cheese. I'm going to have the vegan option. So I'm not going to eat that sort of thing. But again, if there's a little bit of milk in a chocolate bar, I'm not going to, go crazy on it. I'm not strict vegan. I find, again, those people that I know who are strict, they once ate meat, then they're strict vegan, and then guess what? 5 years later, they're back to meat because their body didn't agree with it or something like that. But for me, it's just a steady and slow. There's another one for you. Steady and slow is the way we grow. And I fully believe that with the training, with the physical training, with the form development, with the mind development, with the temple. Bring it back to the temple. So yeah, we built ourselves a kitchen and a little living area. And then out in the courtyard, I would say, is where I spent most of my time developing the temple. The courtyard, which is where a lot of my videos are shot, people just can't believe that it's not in China. You know, it literally, you step through the gates, and that was one of the things I wanted to capture, was my life and experience in the Shaolin monastery, is that as soon as you come through and you close those gates and you can't see any buildings around you, you could very much be in China. The architecture, the artwork, the doors, the patterns on the doors, everything has been hand built by myself and fellow students who have been able to support me over the years. And it's a work in progress. It wasn't done in a year, 2 years. It's taken 15 years to reach this current level, and there's still goals and visions to keep moving it forward. Outside, mirroring the idea that you see in the Chinese temples in China, is a courtyard with this main building, and on the left and right are two smaller buildings. One is just a study room where we use that for quiet time, sitting down studying, whether it's Chinese or drawing or anything like that. And the room on the left side is actually labeled as the meditation room, but T, my son, has taken over and is filled with his never-ending collection of Dragon Ball and Legos. Dragon Ball toys and Legos, from Ninjago to Friends and Transformers, Marvel, and he's kind of got them all on display because he spends a lot of time here as well. To the left side, we have the training chamber where we put our work in. There's a selection of some of my role models who inspired me, and still today, training with them, overlooking me, gives me a sense of not just accomplishment, but drive, kind of reminding me that although some of them are still here, some of them are not, wherever they are, they're overlooking me. And that gives me motivation to keep up with what I'm doing. We have a little weight area, and there's a nice quote up on the wall about greatness and what it means to be great, and how greatness is in us all. And somehow we've come to believe that greatness is reserved just for the chosen few, but actually with the right mindset and ethics, anything is possible. And that's about it. Well, upstairs, I also have an office space, which has become where I spend a lot of time. I do a lot of, like I said, for me, life, it really does make sense. And all of the things that I was drawn to as a child, including my overall journey, which we haven't finished, by the way, we've got to get back to it. From drawing to building, to kung fu, to clothing design, and everything else, my office space has become a part of the temple where I'm able to realize all of that. Social media just fell into my hand like nobody's business.
If you lead a busy life like me and millions of other people around the world, you might be struggling to get your nutrition in. That's where this stuff comes in, absolutely clutch. If health was easy, everyone would be doing it. But Huel make it that easy. You scoop, you shake, and you go, and you get 26 vitamins and minerals, and every single ingredient inside this and all of Huel's other products has been expertly tested by their team to make sure you're getting exactly what you need. And if I'm really in a pinch for time, I'll grab their ready to drink, which has 35 grams of protein, 26 vitamins and minerals, and tastes delicious. Don't just take my word for it though. People like Idris Elba, Diver CEO Stephen Bartlett, and Hardest Geezer, who ran the entire length of Africa, use this as part of their daily routine. So if you want to find out more, go to the link down below. You can get exclusive offers, like if you sign up to their subscription service, you get 10% off all future orders, and if it's your first time ordering, you get a free shaker and t-shirt. It's also now available in major retailers in the UK and the US. What are you waiting for? Go get it.
You know, like as a kid, I would be using a camcorder to try to recreate fight scenes from Jackie Chan movies. We'll be putting together little skits and things like that. One which I'm sure you would have done I'm sure you must have done, I think we all did it, was, where you're recording with the camcorder, and then you jump and you stop and then you change location and you land and you run it back. Like, I was intrigued with all of that. And man, that's what I mean when I say fun and games, is that I look back and we did the most that we could do with what we had, but it was, boy, was it limiting. That was about now what you can do simply just with your phone, and what I've achieved simply with my mind and manifesting it into this temple is astonishing, and I like to show and tell people that that's what it is. So when you come here, it's like an experience. It is not about this being a dojo where you come to learn under a master and the master is masterful and teaches you a lesson. It's an experience to come into my world and just to have a glimpse of what I've achieved, in the hope that that will inspire you to continue on your journey. One of the biggest inspirations here is the rise of the dragon up on the wall, and inside the dragon's mouth is the dragon scroll. And what is the dragon scroll? Well, again, I took that from Kung Fu Panda, and the dragon scroll holds the secrets to Kung Fu. Who wouldn't want the dragon scroll? Well, if you've seen Kung Fu Panda, you know what happens when the dragon warrior finally reveals the dragon scroll. It's merely a mirror reflecting back at him, because there are no secrets. The secret is already within you. So I like to bring those ideas. Meanwhile, I hear other masters saying that, their master is the best and that they've got the secret of Kung Fu and X, Y, and Z, and they will share with you. For me, I'm here to tell you, I don't have any secrets of Kung Fu. I have me and the embodiment of what I've achieved, and I'm happy to share that with everyone to show what I've done. And if you're interested in what I've achieved and think that it's extraordinary, then boy, copy what I've done. Use my story as inspiration. Of course, you can reach out to me and train with me, but if you're not local or you live around the world, it's not necessary to come and train specifically with me. Maybe one time, maybe as an experience, a pilgrimage, if you like, to come to the temple to train. But ultimately, everything you need is already within. And that's what the Dragon Scroll is all about. There is no secret ingredient. Around the temple, you'll see lots of other bits and pieces. You'll see the old manuscripts that I've got, which are the comic books that I read as a kid that taught me some of the training techniques that I still use today. We've got, one of my the greatest items here at the temple is the Sword of Omens. So when I was a kid, I was fascinated by Thundercats, and I had the sword, and I still have the plastic sword, and it's been passed down to my son T, and it's a short dagger. And when you say this phrase, it grows. You say thunder, thunder, Thundercats, ho, and you hold it up, and there's a stone right in the middle. And what that stone does, that's the omen gives you sight beyond sight. And boy, hearing that as a kid, that was Nike for me, to have sight beyond sight, to write the future. That was like, wow. And recently I got my very own actual Sword of Omen replica. It's a beautiful piece of art. So that's scattered around. So there's lots of tales hidden within the temple that as you spend more time here, you start to find and unveil, and they allow you to progress. They allow you to progress. I do believe it's a journey, and I don't believe that any one individual has the ability to give you what it is you're searching for. Instead, I like to look at myself, if anything, as a teacher or as a big brother. I am here simply, the temple is here simply to facilitate growth. And that's for me and for whoever's here with me. It's not to dictate. It's not to say I'm the best. It's not to make any claims, but instead just as a space that allows other like-minded people to have the opportunity to realize their potential through Kung Fu, just as I did. And we'll get back to how I did that. Be like the cup, empty your soul. It's just too cheesy. It's too cheesy, but you dress it up nicely, suddenly these cheap philosophical quotes that you can pick up on Instagram with the right presentation look like the most powerful thing on earth. and it's wrong.